But I'm fixing to do something that should be done on every modern engine build. Some people do it, most people don't, but they ought to be whooped if they don't. All these head bolts that you see that I just took out, trash!
almost took me out.
Damn, Piccolo, you did that?
Still on that boss shit, been boss, know who run shit. Still be clutching on that 5, be on that go dumb. Fuck with it, she called cash, you can't be fucking with no dumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm on your ass, you better run shit.
This bitch so damn good, I had to hit it, made me come quick. Got police inside this bitch, a nigga playing, then it gon' hit. None of my niggas out here saw we ain't the crew that you should fuck with. Black team, black force, still can't be fucked with.
What's up, you guys, man? It's your boy RellToReal, man. Back in here with another video. Hey, man, say, man, hey, man. It's your boy, man, RellToReal. Y'all already know what it is, man. We up pretty early in the morning. I had to go by the barbershop, and then I got to head down here to Matt at Allstate Transmission. Shout out to my guy. He's been out. He had a birthday vacation, too, so that's the reason why the content slowed down on the dome. But I was supposed to, I thought the carburetor would have came in yesterday, so I was supposed to bring the dunk down here and get the dunk fixed, but I mean, I might just tackle it and see what's what. But I was gonna try to do it myself, but he told me to just bring it to him. He'll just knock it out for me and put the new fuel pump on, and you know, go through the gas tank and change the filter in there and change the blow air through the gas line so it can clear out everything, all the trash from getting in it or whatever. But we finna head down here. Today is the day. I'm super excited. Make sure you guys get y'all tickets right now for the 2020 CA Corvette. Make sure y'all do that. You feel me? Y'all gotta do that if you don't do anything. You feel me? I'm super excited about that. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta let this window down so I won't get the yawning off in the video. Cause like I said, it is early in the morning. But like I said, man, we getting straight to the action today. This is one of them exciting videos that I've been waiting on for a while. You know, I'm gonna make some decisions and stuff today. I gotta figure out what I wanna do. My next move gotta be my best move, and I'm always making good moves and good business decisions. So definitely that, for real. So I'm gonna catch you guys once I get up there. I ain't finna run my mouth too long right now, but yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys in a minute. Peace. Y'all see what's going on. Y'all know where we at. Allstate Transmissions, my guy Matt. They got that 300 thing out. Ooh, right in time. Right in time. The 300s do hit different, shorty. You feel me? Got that thing back in. Candy off in here. Got that candy off in here. He got that candy off in here today. What's going on, brother? Doing all right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know his motor looked that good. Sheesh. Yeah, see, y'all know when y'all at a real shop when they do this. And protect that paint.
Don't worry about that.
Matt, what's up?
What's happening?
Chilling.
Man, how you been?
All right, you been doing good?
Doing great, brother. Been doing great.
So, you got the beast out?
Yeah, we just last few things, and then we got to upgrade the fuel pump and the fuel line, and then she's ready to get on the rollers and try to make it some power.
Out of here.
Yeah.
So is that doing like mine?
No, this is a part of the old factory air box. We were trying to, because we did so many modifications to the wiring harness to make all this work. we've been making codes go away.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Stuff. We're gonna put a leg maker or something else on it.
Yeah, something else on it.
But we had it stuck in there because we got a sensor. We're just fixing codes and making sure.
I know how it goes. That's the modification side of it.
Yeah. Work on the little bugs out. Because when you go to the dyno and get on the rollers, man, you won't be ready. So, yeah, we just last minute stuff. Just kind of finally got radiator hoses built for it, and so that was a problem.
Yep.
And yeah, man, now we just.
Man, you in there? You almost finished now?
Yeah. We're real
slow rolling it on in.
Yeah.
Man, these 300s just hit different to me.
Different, don't they?
Man,
especially
they hit
on fours, man.
Man, I promise. It's like it's a perfect size for this car.
Yeah.
Not too big, not too small.
I think we're gonna probably do a little something in the front to get the front down.
Down just a little bit?
Just a hair. But the car's never been driven.
Yeah.
This car used to have air suspension on it.
Oh, yeah.
I put all Hellcat struts.
All the way around?
All the way around. And then we had lowering springs on it, but the car was too low.
Too low.
So we put factory Hellcat springs back on it.
Like I had to do, remember?
And the front's a little too tall. So we're gonna have to.
Didn't you do mine? Yeah. He put my springs back on. Cause it was way too low with them. I don't know what they was. Probably some E-Box or something else.
Yeah, those I-Box, however you pronounce that.
I hate them.
Yeah. On the right car with a small wheel is perfect. But anything bigger than about like a 21 or a 22.
Yeah, it's over.
You ain't got no clearance. You know what I'm saying? Rubbing and scrubbing looking stupid. So.
And your fender coming down with it.
Because like even this car on 24s, nothing hits.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You can turn lock,
I love it.
Everything.
I love them on 24.
Yeah. And it's
I'm thinking about getting another one. Doing another build on one.
Yeah.
I got one got a Hellcat one. A full Hellcat swap one.
Yeah.
Yeah, interior, everything.
Yeah.
Yep, 8-speed, everything.
50, 60?
Yeah, but you can get them lower than that now because the demand for them is so high and so many people doing them.
Right.
You know, you can run across one for like 35, 40 now.
Cheap.
Yeah. Because basically, man, they selling the motors all day for like 10,000 now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it ain't nothing to get that. Or if you buy a wreck Hellcat or something, 25 grand.
Originally, that's what we were going to do to this car. Is a full Hellcat swap, 8-speed, 6.2 Hellcat motor, all that. But the problem is you already had a built 426 in this car.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wouldn't go down if you got a 426.
You're going backwards.
Yeah.
So then it was like, well, man, let's just put the blower on it. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, we can do that. And they make the adapter plates and all that. But man, when you try to put the Hellcat blower on like a 5.7 or a 6.4.
That's what somebody been asking me all week.
The belt drive crap is crappy.
Yeah.
Because like on a Hellcat, there's an 8-rib wide belt that drives the supercharger, and then you have the 6-rib wide belt that runs all your accessories.
All the other things.
So these guys that are putting the Hellcat blowers on, they're running one 6-rib belt to run everything, the blower and the accessories. You gotta put the blower pulley, you gotta buy an aftermarket blower pulley, you gotta turn it on backwards to space it out. And then that puts a lot of pressure on the snout, on the, you know what I'm saying? And if
too much can go wrong.
And if you try to turn it up and get like more boost, the belt will slip and you'll throw belts, and it's just a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So, you know, I bought the adapter plates, and we actually bolted the blower on his stock 6.4, and that's when I kind of saw
everything
else, and I was like, man, this is just super cheesy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be a headache. I said, why don't you put a Whipple on it? And he's like, no, man, I want that factory Hellcat
look. Yeah.
So what we ended up, you know, like I told you before on this one, so the short block, the block and the pistons and everything is 426 that was built out of a 6.4. And then we built a set of custom 6.2 Hellcat heads and put on the 6.4 block.
Yeah,
That way
I remember you telling me.
The blower and everything, valve covers, the accessory drive, every piece off of
everything,
Hellcat,
so it can look like a Hellcat motor.
Like a Hellcat, you know what I'm saying? So, in a sense, it looks like we did a Hellcat swap, but it's better.
Yeah, it's
because
better.
It's 426, Hellcat blower, double belt drive, you know, so this will be a little monster.
This better.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I would take this.
I think this car will put down 850 on the wheel. With stock size boost pulley. Because the car made almost 590 NA.
Damn.
No blower, just the motor. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
So we ought to get, we're going to the 6.2 CNC ported Titech head that we have on here. I'm sure, I think 800-ish, you know, I think, on pump gas. If we put it on the 4 Innovation fuel system that I want to put on the car, then we could go E85 and we could probably do north of that.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see how.
Have your guy got rid of those wheels?
Which ones?
The ones off his dually.
Yes.
Oh, he got rid of them.
Yeah, they didn't.
I think they was. Yeah, I knew they wasn't the price he had gave me, but I was like, I wasn't ready for no new wheels because I wasn't thinking about another truck at the time.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to see if somebody wanted them.
He bought those from the owner, one of the owners of JTX. They were on his personal dock.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
And when he pulled them off,
they was 28, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with the mud tires.
37 inch.
Yeah. So I should have jumped on it. It was a steal.
Yeah, 10K.
And I was like, man, golly, bro. I was so.
You know how it is though, bro. Like, you'll find a deal, and it makes sense, obviously.
Yeah.
But tying up that kind of money to sit in the garage,
yeah,
it takes up a lot of room. Like,
man,
the wheels is big. So, you know.
And I'm not getting my new dually until probably like end of April, May, somewhere around there.
Right.
Cause I don't. Once I get something, I always start building on it, and I don't want it to be old by the time Rick Ross Car Show get here.
Right.
Cause everybody been seen it and seen all the wraps,
the thing
colors.
To do now would be to put your order in. If you're gonna do JTX, go ahead and get your order put in now.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of hits. Because you know how it is, man. Like that car show seems like it's going to be forever away, but we're going to think it's going to be here.
And it's going to be here.
Everybody this year that I know of, anybody I know of that's really got nice cars, they're
going to be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know no cap 30 people going. You know?
Oh, I know way more than that right now.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
30 people ain't never been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think they're really going to be, I think it's going to be huge
this year going to be the biggest year ever.
Yeah. And I see that deal that he posted. Where your car
at? I swear. I had to do it. I was like, man, let me go and do it up. It just got done raining. I was out there. I ain't want to show my house. So I was like, I couldn't get the video I really wanted to get. So I was like, well, I just do something and mess with him. But he actually opened my post.
Did he?
And liked it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he opened my post and lost. You know, usually somebody that big, you don't think they even gonna answer it.
Hey, man,
I can show you.
You'd be surprised, man, how connected everybody is.
Man, I promise,
game,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yes. Rick Ross right there. Hold on. That's him. Gave him the thumbs up. See?
That's awesome, man.
He gave him the thumbs up on it. I had deleted the post because I was like, man, I want to do another one. He done actually seen it. I got to do something better than that. So I deleted it. I was like, I'm going to do it again. But he gave me the thumbs up, liked it and everything. So,
awesome.
Oh, you know, I got a big sponsor now.
Yeah, who's that?
QA1. Yeah. They sending me the whole full big wheel kit for my dunk.
Speaking of donks, that's why we're here today.
Yeah. The dunk motor.
Donk motor?
Yeah.
Let me get this one killed real quick.
And he told me, however I do it, if we record it good and nice, they're gonna send me another kit for my 72. Man, come on, man.
We want to record it real nice, 'cause I might need some QA1s for the cat.
Man, I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. Like, I said, I got you. Yeah. But yeah, y'all, man, I'm gonna let him get on the work. Like I said, we got some big stuff going on today, and I'm overly excited. I'm very excited. Huh?
That's why I know you
from YouTube. From YouTube? Probably so.
My grandson be lost in all that.
Yeah.
The fighting on the TV.
Oh yeah.
And I'll be like, why do y'all watch this? I need to be making me.
Well, you gotta understand that's the new TV now. It's the new entertainment.
I hate TV.
Yeah.
I hate TV.
Yeah.
So what we got in here? That's
this one he building. He built me one too.
Okay.
Like I had one with a Whipple on it, and he built the transmission and everything for mine. And this one looked exactly like mine, like it was like a twin to it.
Okay, now what year is the car? 18 or 20?
No, this probably 12 or
that old?
10. Yeah, that's how. So mine was I had a 12 and I had a 14. So what we do, we changed the front and we put the 2023 front clip on, you know. But he had this before this car before they even came out with those clips. He had this one first. Yeah, he been.
Your car?
Oh no.
It's your car, man?
Customer. Let me go charge up this camera a little bit, and I'm gonna catch y'all in a minute.
1 hour later.
All right, y'all. So we're back here at the back of the shop, and we're about to start the breakdown and the teardown process of the actual 6.2 motor for the dome. We got Matt right here.
We've already done just a couple of things. When you brought the engine over here, engine and transmission obviously were bolted together. So to get the engine up here on a stand where we can easily work on it and rotate it, we've already separated the transmission.
Yep.
So you got a 6L80 transmission, 6-speed is what was on this engine. So we've got it sitting over here. And then, you know, when we break these projects down, it's real important to have organization for the parts, right? Because we work on a lot of cars. So we don't want to get your parts mixed up with somebody else's parts. So we always use, like, you know, these big container bins. That way we can kind of keep everything together, you know? A lot of the parts on this engine we're not going to be reusing, obviously. You know, the parts that we ordered you, we use Texas Speed primarily for our camshafts and a lot of our internal engine parts, especially on the LS platform. But this engine, because of what year model it is, it has a few things that GM gave it that we don't want. So this engine has the DOD function, where it drops from 8-cylinder to 4-cylinder. So you can just turn it off with the computer, but since we're going to go in this engine, we're going to take it out of the engine, right? So we're going to delete the DOD feature, and this car also has what's called VVT, which is variable cam timing, where the computer can alter the timing of the engine when it's running. Being that we're kind of doing a hot rod build and we're going to keep it simple and we want power and performance, we are putting a non-VVT cam in this.
Okay.
A couple of reasons. One, when you eliminate the VVT, you can run the smaller timing chain cover, which gives you a prettier look on the front of the engine. We have more options if we decide that we want to do a really nice pulley kit on this engine, which we've kind of talked about.
Yeah, we talked about it already.
It will all bolt up, no having to space the water pump and do stuff like that. So by eliminating those factory functions that are in this engine, we're just going to clean it up and make everything just a little more simple, you know?
Yeah, simple and clean.
Clean, it makes it simple, it makes it easier to tune, you know, because we're just tuning basically the air, the fuel, and the timing. We don't have to get into, you know, VVT tables and all that kind of stuff, because
all the technical stuff.
In an old school car, wiring it up simple and keeping it simple, that's not stuff that you have to mess with.
Yeah.
And the guys that do these swaps and don't want to spend the money inside the engine, that's where some of the problems sometimes comes in on trying to get them tuned and make them run right. And so by making it a little bit more like an older LS model as far as its features, just makes it easier, you know, simple. So we've got it here on the stand. Basically all we're going to do is we're going to break this thing all the way down to a short block, because the heads are going to get sent out to the machine shop and get the valve springs and seals and retainers and all that stuff changed because of the camshaft valve job, just to make it all that fresh. And then also breaking it down that far, we're going to get an opportunity to look at the pistons, the cylinder walls. We can pull a bearing cap to see how good this motor is. We don't know how many miles are on it. We don't know how it's lived its life. So we'll do all of that just to be able to know that we've got a good foundation we're building on top of. So
he told me the car that he got it off was 60-something thousand.
It looks
70-something thousand, you know? Something like that.
In all honesty,
it was one of those numbers.
Yeah, you know, from exterior perspective, it looks like a fairly clean motor, you know. Carbon in the throttle body's not horrible, you know, so very well could be that's the truth, but I ain't gonna win money to find
exactly.
out. So we're gonna peel.
We want to find out before we put it in.
Yeah, we're gonna peel the wig back off of it, and we're gonna see what we got.
Okay.
So you guys get to come along for the journey. Might be a little bit of noise from either other guys working or tools as we're breaking this.
I might do a little time lapse so they won't hear a lot of that.
We're gonna stop. We've already got the transmission off. We've got all the old coolant lines and AC lines. We
we're on
before we got on camera just to speed up the process. But I'm fixing to jump on this thing with some tools, and we're going to break it all the way down. And then once we get it broke down, I can kind of show you these features that we're eliminating, what we're changing, you know, once we get in there. No, I'm not going to do research, find out on that one again. What is the best thing? All right, let's see. You know, keeping track of bolts. Guys love to take stuff off motor and leave all the bolts in the pieces so they think it's going to be easier to figure out where everything went. Fact of the matter is, if you're working on something and you aren't smart enough to take the bolts off and know how to put them back, then you probably shouldn't be working. Intake manifold and throttle body off. So now what we're doing is we're kind of starting to see some of the internals of the motor. Now, look at here. Look down inside these intake ports. See all this debris?
Yeah.
So that could be dirt. That could be who knows what, you know, down inside this engine. So that tells me, if you look in here, there's a lot of sand. So this engine was running in an area where there was a lot of dirt, a lot of sand, because look, it's just caked up.
Yeah.
You know. So by doing what we're doing, you know, of course, we don't have to worry about being careful, because by doing what we're going to do, we're taking everything apart. Everything's getting clean before it goes back together. But things like this is, you know, part of the emissions, you know, evap purge valve. We're going to do away with that. This cover is going to be modified on the inside because all of the electronics that operate that DOD system, they live right underneath here. So I'll go ahead and pull this off next. That way I can kind of show you that stuff right there. So now what we're going to be looking at, these are electronic valves, and you've got 4 of them. So these 4 valves is what the computer uses to shut the oil off to 4 of the lifters, or actually 8 of the lifters in the motor. Each valve will control 1 cylinder. So 4 valves means it can shut off 4 of the cylinders, which goes from like V8 to 4-cylinder motor. We're not going to actually physically take these out of the engine, but what we are going to do, and you'll get to see this when we put it back together, these ports right here is what feeds the oil to the lifters. So what we'll do is we'll put these special block-offs in the block in these locations, to where even though we can still run that factory cover, it's not doing anything.
Okay.
You can spend money and buy another cover, or you can put the block-offs in the block and run the same cover and save yourself some money.
Okay.
So unless we were doing some kind of a aftermarket intake where this would be unattractive or supercharger to look at, we can reuse that factory piece.
Okay.
Even though it's going to be disabled, we don't have to buy a couple $100 cover.
Exactly.
So there's parts of doing these motors where you can save yourself some money if you kind of know what all your options are. If you look inside the motor here, she's really pretty clean, you know. Obviously we've got dirt and stuff, but that's
just
on
fill in there.
That's on every engine. Doesn't matter. It's all going to get washed and cleaned out anyway. Nice and clean. No sludge. Had the oil changed on it good. Everything looks good. It's all good stuff.
It ain't milky.
Not milky. So far I'm liking it. good. What's called the rocker arm. Rocker arms and push rods have to come out of the heads before you can unbolt the heads off the engine. Push rods. These are going to be getting replaced. Anytime we do a high performance camshaft, it's got larger amounts of lift. These stock push rods we throw away. Also, part of this process is the valve spring retainer, which is this washer looking piece here. The locks that hold it and the valve spring, that will all be changed to high performance stuff because of the camshaft as well. Engine, and how you can really tell is that there's no varnish even on these push rods. They look like they almost came out of the package. So this is all signs that you bought a really, really nice engine. You know,
okay.
Low mileage, nice engine.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Well,
I spent quite a bit on it.
It's good to find, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody gets told that. Sometimes you get that. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you're supposed to have nice
exactly.
stuff, and you do.
And he said the mileage, he was like, it's not no 100,000. This is not going to be one of those type of motors you're getting. So he was like, you're getting a real nice start.
Right. Again, parts in the box.
Right in the box.
Nothing gets misplaced. All the engine parts will go actually in another container after everything has been washed and cleaned up.
Now, I always hear about the breaking of the studs on the manifold.
Yep.
So how can you prevent that? Or
You honestly can't.
Yeah.
In the car, if you try to remove them with the engine hot, a lot of times it's a little more forgiving. For us, we don't care if they break. We have foolproof
the stuff to
of pulling them out. So
Yeah.
for us, it's kind of whatever. But you'll notice this is a pretty strong electric impact, and you'll notice like I'm trying to break them loose, and you can see how slow the socket's turning. That means that bolt, the heads are aluminum, the bolts are steel. When the factory builds these engines, they don't use any kind of like anti-seize material because they don't want these bolts coming loose. So they're trying to make sure that the bolt is stuck in the threads from the factory.
Okay.
It's when we're disturbing it that stuff starts to break. But a lot of times we're putting headers back on these engines.
Yeah.
So they're getting all new bolts anyway. And any of them that break, I got a quick
to get them right out.
But I am going to change over to air.
And I heard a lot of people, you know, they put that bolt on it and they tack it in and
We use the welder.
yep, the welder and do it.
That's kind of the secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
Air. Well, it looks like we're going to get all of them out with none of them breaking.
Probably because how good the motor is.
Probably so.
Yeah. Came right on out.
Parts box.
Smooth sailing.
And the parts box at the end of the project, there'll be a lot that gets thrown away, but we don't throw away anything until we're done. You know?
Yeah.
Because
you never know.
You never know.
We said it at the same time.
Yeah.
That saved a good 30 minutes.
Yep.
Trying not to break something.
Try not to break something.
Yep.
So all the heads are pretty much bleeded now. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and just start pulling off all the front accessories. Power steering pump, water pump, alternator, all that stuff, because we want to get down to the part where we can start pulling the heads off. And you can't do that until all of these things that bolt into it are out of the way. Now we're going to transfer over here to the front, start breaking all of these things down. Everything comes apart pretty quick and easy. So we can get down to just the engine itself. Most of the things on the front, I think we're going to change, right?
Yeah.
We're probably going to do a nice pulley kit on it. So things like these big aluminum factory motor mounts, this factory, you know, none of this stuff we're going to actually reuse in what we're doing. but we'll go ahead and break it all down. We'll save the parts, you know, give back to the customer or yourself or, you know, whatever. It's just kind of our process.
Not in my garage. No, sir. We can give it to the next scrap guy that come up here.
Right. So once we get all this stuff off the front, then that allows us to get down to where we can pull actually the heads off. Once the heads get off, all this other little stuff that we're not using, all that will get taken off to where everything is just broken all the way down. But it's just kind of easier to start at the top, then you move the front, then we'll spin the motor, start pulling heads, and just work our way from top to bottom. But we're going to get all this stuff off the way real quick first. On all GM vehicles, on all the new ones, your trucks, your Camaros, the AC, the factory AC compressor belt, it's a stretch belt, meaning there's no tensioner or there's nothing to take loose to get this belt off. You either got to fight it with pry bars. We always just cut them because we always, if we're reusing it,
never knew that.
We put a new belt. They're called stretch belts. So notice, it just goes around the AC and it goes around the crankshaft, and there's no tensioner, there's no idler, there's no nothing. So there's a special tool that we have that we use, and you had to roll the belt on to change it. But to come off, we're just going to cut it. I would much rather build the engine to what the customer's going to be doing versus, well, let's just put this in there for right now.
Exactly.
And then when I blow it, we'll redo it. Like,
well, not redo this one.
Well,
I know another one.
Another one. and then you got to buy another one to start with, right? So, like, the reality of it is the horsepower level we talked about, you know, 400 horse, you know, 450 horse. That motor will do that naturally aspirated. It won't put a lot of force on the bottom end because this is a really clean, low mileage engine. We're going to check it, but if it all checks out, the bottom
But you know we're putting a supercharge on it down the line, remember? I would have been got it. You told me to hold off.
No, I told you, what I told you is you kind of have to make up your mind what you want to do. Do you want to build the car NA now and put a supercharger on it later, or do you want to build it supercharged now? The conversation we had was, you know, money and content and time and enjoying the car.
That's what I was just explaining to him.
You know, then we do it NA.
And come back and get the rest of the content later.
Yeah, you can always upgrade later, you know what I'm saying? But I would not put a supercharger on this motor if you really plan on turning it up much. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to keep it low boost, kind of like a stock, you know, ZL1, you know, type situation, then yeah, the bottom end will hang on. But if you really want to go out there and show out,
I want the low boost. I just like the supercharge.
So there's options there.
I told you my max was like 600 for now. Reliable. Because once you get the 8 to 1,000, now
that's the same thing I told him. He's like, we're gonna put a pulley on that Hellcat motor. I'm like, man, I don't think we need it. You know, it's just you got a nice.
It happens like that. We get used to it so quick.
I know.
You know.
Today's fun is not tomorrow's fun.
Exactly.
So what got you in the neighborhood, Mr. J?
Man, I'm doing a job over there on Jim Miller.
Oh yeah? So you just right down the road then.
Cause man, I get so indecisive so quick. Man, he know me. He know me. I'm probably pretty much like you.
We're all the same, bro.
Yeah.
It's easier for us
to get it.
If we're managing the whole project, well, we're not held up. Like, I've got that white Cutlass down there. We're trying to get him ready for a car show. We go to put the fans on that he brought, and the fans are the wrong size.
Oh, crap.
So now we got to stop, and he's got to go to Summit because I don't have time today,
exactly.
You know, so.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Those new ones are crazy though.
Well, these are the top bolts that just kind of hold the top of the head down to the block. Your main head bolts are all back here.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. Nice and tight.
Yeah. Torque.
Okay. Now, we're fixing to drop this head off the engine, but I'm fixing to do something that should be done on every modern engine build. Some people do it, most people don't, but they ought to be whooped they don't. All these head bolts that you see that I just took out, trash. They're not reusable. Can you reuse them? Sure. Do people reuse them? Sure. But should you?
No.
Absolutely not. Especially if you're going to go boosted or even if it's going back stock. It's not something that you should do. Bad business.
That was a new one for me because I never heard that one. It's a good thing you said because I know there's a lot of people out there said, what's the reason?
What's the reason?
Huh?
What's the reason?
So the head bolts from the factory, as you torque them down, they stretch. So it's like spring steel. So they're only designed to be installed and torqued one time. The force, like you saw how the impact
what it
was
did?
fighting.
Yeah.
So imagine if you got a bolt that was only designed to be used one time and it's installed and it's torqued down. Then the motor's gotten hot, it's been used. Then you use a tool like this to pull it back out. And you build your nice motor with your nice camshaft or whatever you're doing, and then you put it back in and try to retorque it again. I've had them.
They can break off in it
before, and you could almost break them, retorquing them, or they wouldn't torque. Like they would just keep going. And what it is the more you torque, the more they stretch.
Yeah.
But lots of
because all the heat from the motor too.
People don't want to buy them. You know, they're not cheap, but they are a necessity. You know, when we order the parts kits for these motors, we order head bolts as part of that. On our big boosted motors with high horsepower, we use studs. Like your motor, you know, the 426, you know, it's got studs in it. So instead of having a fastener that just bolts down, we actually install studs, and then it has nuts that go on top that you're torquing
and make
a
it
nut
better.
to a stud. So you've got clamping power here, and then you've got the clamping power of where the stud is threaded down to the block. So different applications, different stuff. Old spark plugs. We don't use those either.
No.
Head number one.
Now that's where
got going on here.
moisture, huh?
No.
I mean backfire. It looked like it.
Looks like nitrous. A lot of times nitrous will flame burn around the outside of the pistons like that. The cylinders still look good though. It might have had a hot tune on it, something. It's not something that you would normally find on just a bone stock motor, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that clean on the inside, you wouldn't normally start to see all that carbon just breaking loose on top of the piston like that. I mean, like, look at that.
Yeah. And you the man building this.
We'll
Yeah.
double check all that when we get there, but yeah.
Let me know why it's out first.
Yeah, well, that's the point of doing it. Right? Like, figure it all out, because last thing we want to do is put something in and then have to pull it right back out.
Yeah.
That's never good. Wanted to get some more power and not have to buy a whole complete replacement head, we could send these heads out and have them CNC ported.
That's what I usually do.
Get you a lot better airflow, and you're not having to buy a whole new head.
Ported and polished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but we said, you know, in the old days, you have a guy that would sit there with a tool and he.
Well, my dad taught me how to do it, so
now
I used to do my own.
And they put them in a CNC machine, and
it
Frankenstein. And there's other companies that do it too.
Damn.
And they'll do a full CNC port, and it's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're doing it by hand in the garage, you're not getting it perfect.
Yeah.
You know, the best guys on the planet.
No.
But the CNC machines get it perfect. You know, so that's kind of the route that we go a lot of times.
Is that something you'll like to do to this one? Hey.
I like everything. So.
Cause I like the way it breathes a little bit better with the head flow.
Absolutely.
You know, so if we can do it, I definitely do it.
There is power.
Yeah.
But we could send these heads out and have them CNC ported. Absolutely.
Show that trash can moment so they know.
System looks right here.
Yeah.
There's carbon on it, but it's all nice and smooth and even, okay? And then you look at these other ones, that's where the whole carbon has gotten so hot that it's releasing from the piston that it was stuck to. And you can see that on multiple cylinders. You can see how hot it's been right here, where it's burned the carbon off. That's on the intake valve. So my theory is we'll pull bearings in this motor to make sure, but they might have had some kind of either a really hot tune, maybe running cheap gas. You know, if they had a hot tune and cheap gas, that would do this.
Oh, okay.
A power adder like nitrous would sometimes do this if the tune was off. Just something. That's something you
Dallas
can see.
people love nitrous down here for some reason. But
that's not something that you would see on a bone stock motor. It's this clean. You know, that's just not normal stuff that you would see. Now what I'm pulling out now, these are going to be the lifters. On an LS motor, Hemi motors, the lifters are underneath the head. So when people want to know why does like a cam kit or a cam job cost so much, because you literally had to pull the motor down this far
to get
just
to
to
it.
the lifters to then be able to pull the camshaft out. You know, so that's why. Imagine doing all this in the car.
Yeah.
You know, we don't do too many cams in the car anymore. It's almost for us easier just to pull the motor out. On the
and then
motor
put it
cars,
back.
we drop the motors out the bottom. On the course, the Chevrolets, they do have to come. Camaros and stuff, we can drop them out the bottom, but like the trucks, you
kind of put them out.
So how they do that MDS system to change your V8 to 4-cylinder is with these valves I showed you up in the top, and then with the lifters. So this is what a normal LS lifter looks like. You know, truck, car, doesn't matter. This is what an LS lifter looks like. All the year models interchange, you know, as long as it's LS. That's what a normal
roller lifter
looks like. Roller on the end. This is what it looks like. This is an MDS or DOD lifter. These lifters are used on the cylinders that the computer has the ability to turn off. So when the computer turns off those valves that I showed you, it cuts off the oil to the lifter, and the lifter actually collapses. It has this spring on top to keep pressure on the push rod to keep it from jumping out of the motor, but basically it shuts these lifters down, and that's how it's able to do it. Valve cuts off the oil, different lifter design, does the job. We throw all of this away. We're not gonna just, you can, on the cheap, just buy and replace these lifters and put these lifters back in. We don't do that.
No, okay.
So we'll put all the lifters in the motor brand new. Comes in the kit, right? So all this stuff, trash. You guys watching at home, trash.
Trash.
Also, little plastic trays, they're different. So an LS engine that doesn't have these MDS or DOD lifters, the tray is different. So we're going to throw the trays away also because the kit comes with all new trays. New lifters, new trays, new cam, new push rods, new springs, all the parts to make it right. So this, trash. Do save the bolts. It does come with new bolts that hold these lifter trays in, but I just kind of had a habit always save them. All of this stuff. Don't touch the gas pedal. Now I'm kind of trying to cheat here real quick, and it's probably not going to work, but I thought I would try. No.
He pressed that gas, did it?
Didn't I say don't press the gas?
I thought you blew that mug.
Here,
Your feet slipped, huh?
here at Allstate Transmission, and we build engines that you can crank up cold and take to 7,000 RPM and hold them.
It revved up to 4,000 and was just hanging there. Oh, it only did 4 on you, huh? It only did 4 on you.
He ain't realized I set him up yet.
He didn't need to. Don't feel bad.
Did it scare you, Jack?
He goes, I killed it.
They said I ain't paid for nothing yet. These down here are what's called the knock sensors. So this is what the computer uses. Like if the engine starts to detonate or ping because of timing or fuel or whatever, these sensors are right here, the ones that'll save it.
Okay.
And we will be reusing those.
It shuts it off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what it will do is it won't shut the motor off, but it uses this sensor to listen. They're like listening sensors. And when it hears it, then the computer can do things to save it.
Okay.
But some people don't run these. Some people
They
knock.
eliminate it. Yeah.
We run knock sensors, it's just.
I know a lot of people that eliminate them.
Yeah, we don't. We want all the safety we can get, right?
Yeah, to save it.
At the end of the day, we're not trying to have things blow up. If I build stuff that blows up, it makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we leave all that stuff alone.
They put it on there for a reason.
For a reason. And this is the reason why we don't use stock harnesses, because guys always cut all of this stuff. Like these are the wires with knock sensors. They're already cut off the harness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So why take a chance on
Shortening out something.
shorting out something or having to repair the harness just to reuse something that's already damaged?
Yep.
Don't make no sense.
None at all.
People do it.
Oh, I got a Dakota Digital too.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm getting my parts slowly for surely, but I'm taking my time, but I'm getting them.
Man, it's a journey.
I just want to make sure when we start messing with everything, we got everything.
Right.
Another
thing, if you see all of this right here, this is an oil cooler. So the engine oil comes out of the block through the oil pan into this cooler, and then you had water on these two pipes that came from the radiator in the factory Camaro. So in a factory Camaro, trucks, different cars, they all have it. It runs water through here and oil through here to give you an engine oil cooler. It's not really necessary on our application. And we're going to be using an aftermarket oil pan anyway because we're doing a swap. So we will eliminate all of this completely.
Okay.
We'll block it off here. There's a little plate that we can buy that blocks this passageway off, and then we're eliminating all of this. So it'll clean it up off the engine, and it'll make everything perfect for what we want. Sounds good. Oh, she does.
Got a little nasty.
These two connections up here that I'm working on, they are the camshaft position sensor, is what this one is. And then this one is what's called the VVT. This is that variable cam timing. So we're going to eliminate this timing cover. We're going to eliminate this completely out of the engine. So when we put this back together, it will have a whole different timing cover on it. That timing cover won't have this stuff at all. And we'll only be using just the cam sensor. Cleans it up, makes it simple.
Which could have been cheaper than that if they would have rethreaded it. Because they had a brand new carburetor and everything.
I wouldn't use a hammer on this if we were going to reuse it.
Exactly. You know, nowadays they've been made a meme out you. Hey man, he hitting on the oil pan with a hammer.
What's that noise?
Yeah.
On the newer motors, the oil pan is completely siliconed on. This one still should have a gasket. Yep, still got a gasket. This is going to be trash also.
trash.
Because that won't fit in your chassis.
Exactly.
That also has the provisions for the oil cooler. So we're going to put a holly pan on it, you know, that will work with putting that in the donk.
Okay.
So I used to keep all this stuff, and then you look around your shop,
hoarder.
And you're a hoarder. So now when we break them down, I just automatically throw stuff like that away. Just not worth it.
Yeah.
So this is your oil pump down in here. This is the tube that's inside the engine where it picks the oil up in the bottom of the pan. We're looking at the engine upside down right now. So it'll always have a pickup tube in the lowest most point of the pan to suck the oil up. We'll be reusing a new windage tray that comes with a new oil pan. The new oil pan will also come with a new pickup tube. So all of this stuff is going to be throwaway stuff because we're not going to be reusing it. Turn it upside down and lost it.
Man, hey, I go crazy and the thing always right here on my back.
Yeah.
Man, laying up under them cars, I don't got no lift either.
And a good thing for like people that might be doing this on their own or doing this at home, get you some Ziploc bags. Because if you're doing something for the first time or you don't have a lot of experience, as you take off each piece, you can put the bolts in a bag, get a Sharpie, label it. You never lose anything. You know, we're still keeping things together, obviously. That's one big pile of bolts. If you don't do these all the time and you don't know where everything is, it might get a little confusing. So now we are looking at some of the inner workings of the engine. Crank, rods, as far as seeing the pistons from the top. You know, what we can do once we get this thing all cleaned up is we can pull some of these caps and we can look at the bearings just to make sure we're happy with the way everything. Yeah. The next step, all we have to do now is pull the harmonic balancer off. Then we can pull the timing cover. Then we can pull the oil pump, timing chain, and then the camshaft out. But what we're pretty much looking at here as far as this engine goes right now is what's called the short block. That's the term for it. This is nothing but the engine block, the pistons, the crank, and the rods. And we still have the cam in it, but this, if we're just looking at this is what's considered a short block. So the difference between what's called a short block and a long block, short block has no heads, long block has heads. So a lot of people go to buy like a rebuilt or replacement engine and they start seeing those words, they don't really know what that means. That's the difference. This is a short block, which is just basically the bottom end of the engine. And a long block would be a complete engine with heads. Keeps it pretty simple as far as all that goes. We'll stop right here because I do have to go get a puller to pull the harmonic balancer off. Sometimes we have to heat up the bolt a little bit. Sometimes they come right out. But we'll take a quick pause and grab some different tools and then we'll finish tearing this thing the rest of the way down.
A few moments later.
So we got the short block all tore down to the short block. The last things that we have to do to get the camshaft out of the engine, this is what's called the harmonic balancer. We're going to need to pull this off, and to pull the harmonic balancer, it does take a special tool. For people that might be trying to do this at home, you can go to a local auto parts store. They have like rent-a-tool programs like O'Reilly's and, you know, different companies, whoever, Advanced Auto, whatever. But this is what it looks like. So this is a harmonic balancer puller for an LS engine. This puller is specific for this engine, but a universal puller will work too. So whatever you can get your hands on. The cool thing about this one and being made just for this engine is you don't have to use any adapters. You just basically, you know, once you get the bolt out, this piece has these little fingers on it. You just set it in there, turn it one time, and it locks. So it's very easy to use. You know, we try to use like engine specific tools on most of the cars that we work on, but this is kind of roughly like what the puller would look like if you went and rented one or borrowed one or had to go buy one off of Amazon or wherever you wanted to get it. So we're going to pull the harmonic balancer bolt out. We'll insert the tool. We'll pull the balancer off. And then the last thing will just be the cover, timing, oil pump, and then the camshaft gets to come out. Once the camshaft comes out, we've pretty much got it torn all the way down. So we're going to go ahead and jerk this out. Let me try a bigger impact, I guess. She's tight. This is the one that break it.
Yeah.
People probably don't have a cut torch. But you can go to the hardware store and buy a small map gas torch.
Yeah, the little can one that you use for like backyard stuff.
And that will work.
Yeah, I actually got to get one of those.
Have a really cool tool it's called an inductive heater. And it uses electricity to make bolts hot.
Let me back up while he got the fire.
You always put the heat right on the end of the bolt.
Almost took me out. Hey, I almost took off.
That's that hood.
Almost took off. One thing you'll never see RellToReal do: play with fire. I don't play with fire. Oh yeah, I was finna go up at my skin. Hey, I was gonna leave my body right here where it stands.
Add seal in that torch, so sometimes it'll pop like that.
Came right up out of there. Golly.
Just like that.
Just that easy. You just gotta have the rights sometime.
Woo, hot. Little baby. So you can kind of see how that tool locks in there. We don't normally use hammers to knock stuff loose, but we're not reusing
them. And we have to be specific with y'all about that.
Yeah.
He don't
think we use
hammers
to take stuff always apart. So inside here is like a magnet with a coil, and then inside here is like a valve. And it uses oil pressure to be able to adjust that cam to change the cam timing. But again, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be putting a more earlier conversion in here with a 3-bolt sprocket and no VVT. So all of this is going to be trash because we're not going to use it. The only thing we'll save and reuse is this one camshaft sensor and this little wiring harness piece to keep it clean. But this will go away. This will go away. You know, most all of this cover will be changed. All this will be trash, except just that one sensor. Right here on the inside, this is the oil pump for the engine. So the timing chain, you know, is hooked to the crankshaft. This spins with the crankshaft, and that's what pumps the oil and lubricates the whole engine. So on these motors, it's pretty simple. Since we already have the bottom and the oil pump pickup tube and all that off, once we pull these 4 bolts, then the whole oil pump is going to come off as one assembly. Just 4 bolts. And that is the oil pump. Just that simple. That's where the tube hooks up, where it picks up the oil. When it picks up the oil, this pump spins, it pressurizes it, and shoves the oil back through this hole, which is right here, up back into the block to lubricate the whole engine. And then the oil drains back down to the pan, you know, to get pumped back up again. Now, last thing, timing chain. This engine, being a late model, has got a factory spring-loaded timing chain tensioner. This is a really good piece. This piece did not come in the early LS engines, but we love this design, and we put these in all of our LS motors. This,
no matter what year
it is, because this is a great part, and we really like, you know, what it does about keeping tension on the chain. So we will have to inspect these to see if there's no cracks, no wear. If there are, we'll buy brand new ones
and replace
But when we put this back together, even though we're converting everything else, we will be using these factory style tensioner and guide, because it always keeps pressure on the chain. There's no slack, you know, and that's what you want, because if you got slack, the chain can jump, the timing can vary. So you want all of this stuff to be, you know, perfectly in position, and that's what this stuff here does.
Okay, perfectly lined up.
To get the sprocket off the camshaft, On the earlier LS engines, there would have been 3 different bolts here. But since this is a VVT camshaft, it just has this one great big bolt in the center. This is another bolt that you do not reuse. If you're doing one of these engines and you're keeping it this configuration, when you buy your parts, you buy your head bolts, you definitely want to buy this camshaft bolt brand new. Another bolt that is a bolt that's only designed to be used one time. So don't reuse those either. Now what's kind of funky about this bolt, it's really not just a bolt. It's a bolt that also has the means to let the oil come through here, and then the oil comes out these other passageways to make this work. I'm going to pull this off and show you. So if you look down inside this piece, you'll see all of these grooves, you'll see these holes in these passageways. This piece here, you can't do it with your hand because it's spring loaded inside, but this piece has the ability to move with the control of the computer to change the cam timing as you're driving down the road. It's great technology in all of the factory applications, even the high performance factory applications. We still use this. We really normally only delete this when we're doing more of a LS swap, where we're putting this in something that's older, where we want the front of the motor to be a little cleaner, a little nicer, a little neater, and you know, it's just one less thing that you have to worry about if you're doing like an old school LS swap. You know, there's nothing wrong with VVT. We have had some customers that wanted to keep the VVT in their hot rod, which is fine, but you know, you told me to build this like it was mine, so if it was mine, this stuff, trash. So now we are at the final point. All we have to do is pull these bolts right here, pull this plate, and then the camshaft will be ready to come out. The cool thing about how they built the timing chain tensioner and the guide assembly, it's just 2 bolts that hold in the motor. So it's very kind of modular how they did this. And that all comes off in one piece. And if you notice, let's just go ahead and check it out. There's almost 0 wear on the guide. There's almost 0 wear on the tensioner. So that tells me everything looking this way that we can actually reuse this piece, no problem, just wash it, and we don't have to buy it. These are about, I don't know, 30 to 50 bucks for this little piece. So, you know, if you have an engine that you're working on and all that looks good, then we get to reuse it. The only thing you have to do is, this has got a piece of metal in here that's like spring loaded. So if you see me push on that, you'll see that flex. What we will have to do before we reassemble the engine, we'll have to put this in a vise and hold it. And if you notice, there's a little hole right here. There's also a little bitty hole right there. If you notice right now, those 2 holes are not lined up. But when we put it in a vise and we compress this piece, then you can line it up, and we put a pin in there, and that holds it so you can put all the timing together. When you get everything together on the engine, you just pull the pin out, and this thing does its job, and it's done. So the reinstallation of this piece is very simple, and like I said, they work really, really good. This plate that I'm fixing to take off is also another piece that we never reuse. It's a metal plate, but there is a O-ring that's bonded to the back of it, and you can reuse it. I see people do it, but we don't. This piece of rubber is impregnated into this piece of metal, and I don't want you to get your hands dirty, but if you were to feel this, you can't hardly feel the rubber at all. Like, it's very smooth across there. So when you feel this compared to a new one, you know, there's a big difference. So I have guys, I've seen engines where guys will silicone this and put it back in there. Silicone then gets in the engine. So, you know, my advice to anybody doing this is like $13, $14.
Just get a new one.
Just get a new one. Most of your companies like Texas Speed will have these parts included like in a cam kit. But definitely a piece that we don't recommend reusing, just because, you know, it's oil pressure and we don't want to work on a motor and take any chances.
Exactly.
You know, so another piece that we always replace.
Might as well change most of it while it's out.
Yeah, and you know, I guess kind of a big part of doing this, you know, for the viewers and stuff, and kind of letting them see some of these internal workings, is because there's lots of people out there right now, I know, that are probably having these projects done. And these are the kind of things that you can educate yourself on. So if you go into the shop or the person that you're dealing with, and you watch what they're doing to your engine or your project, these are some just like little key things that you can look at. You know, like, hey, you got that cam in there, you finna put my heads back on?
Don't change this.
Where's the head bolts? Oh, no, they good. You know, so if you start getting those kind of responses, then they might not be doing you the best job that they could do you. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of information is stuff that a lot of people don't know or might not know. It's an easy way to kind of, with a few questions, the person that's doing the work for you on your vehicle or your project would let you know, hey, these guys are really doing it 100% the right way, and I feel good.
Exactly.
Versus if you go in there, you see some things, you don't see these parts, then you kind of know that they're cutting the corners.
Cutting the corners.
Yeah.
Trying to put more profit in their pockets.
Yeah, because that's, you know, it happens, man. You know, I would love to say that all shops are honest, but the reality is they're not.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we know. I'm here now. We definitely know that.
Now, the internet is going to beat me up about this, and I'll go ahead and say a little something. I'm using a pair of wire cutters. These are not pliers. These are not vice grips. These are wire cutters. And the reason I like using these for what I'm fixing to do is these are very long, so you have a lot of leverage, right? If I was to grab this with a pair of vice grips or channel locks, I'm not reusing this cam, so I don't care. But even if I was, I would still do this because this gives me the ability to grab this camshaft like this, and almost with no effort, because I have the leverage of these long pliers and I'm not scratching anything up, I can just grab this thing and just pull it right on out. Easy pleasing. Couple of rotations, you walk it through the bearings. Now I have it out here, I can grab it with both hands. A lot of times you'll have to turn this camshaft as you pull just a little bit. You kind of want to be easy because you don't want to damage the cam bearings. And that's the camshaft. And guess where this is going?
In the trash.
Trash. Once you get the camshaft out, the last thing that you want to kind of look at is you want to look at your cam bearings. So what we're going to do is just kind of wipe this off. Now what you can notice when you look in here at this bearing is it looks almost brand new. There's no scarring, no scratches. There's no different colors where the bearing has worn down to the copper. What you are looking at is a really clean bearing surface, and that is about as nice as you could ask for on a motor, you know, that's got 60,000 or however many miles on it. That is good enough to reuse, not change, and go right back together.
Right back in.
So now that we have the engine tore down this far, we're pretty much at the stopping point with the block. What we'll do with this block is we will put it in our machine, in our vat, and it will get washed. We will rotate the engine, and we will check every one of these cylinders from top to bottom visually to make sure there's no scratches, no funny marks. As we rotate these pistons, we will get them up to the top and we will clean them off to get all that carbon off to where we can look at the aluminum of the piston.
And make sure.
Because we're here right now.
Yeah, we're right here.
Anything can be fixed.
Yep.
So we will do all of that. We will check the bearings in the bottom. All of this will get washed and cleaned up. And then when you come back for our reassembly, this will be sitting here on the stand looking like this, but a lot prettier. And everything else.
Don't forget the heads.
The heads go to the machine shop.
Yeah.
They'll get a full valve job. They'll get a surface. If we're going to send them out for CNC porting, we'll have that done. And then basically when we come back to put this engine together, our heads will already be ready to go. This will already be checked and cleaned, make sure it's ready to go. And then basically we just reinstall everything we took apart today.
Okay.
And then we have us a fresh engine with a cam swap, DOD delete, VVT delete, ready to make some fun. That's kind of the process. We got a little bit of a mess to clean up, but it's really not hard. Anybody can do this, you know. There are tons of videos, tons of information on this platform. There's nothing scary about these engines. You just have to have a little faith in yourself.
Exactly.
And if you're not doing it yourself and you are paying somebody else to do it for you, hopefully these are some little tips and things that you can look for, you know, to make sure that whoever's doing the work for you is going to do you a good job.
Exactly.
Because, you know, there's a lot of people out here that's claiming to really know what they're doing with this kind of stuff, and they cut the corners and the customer pays for it one way or another.
Yeah.
These are just the old water pump gaskets. We're just gonna pull those off, throw them away.
Throw them away.
We
Not
don't
used
use
though.
any old gaskets. Every gasket will be new. Every seal will be new. That way, when we put this thing in, we know it's gonna do nothing but work the way it's supposed to and keep going.
Well, y'all hear first from the guy Matt himself, Allstate Transmission. Y'all know I told y'all, man, this is gonna be my main go-to guy for any of this type stuff. Especially, he the only one touching my old schools. I'm just being honest. You guys make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, and everything. And we're gonna keep doing video series like this. I'm not gonna be filming a lot of other stuff while I'm doing this type of footage. You guys, I know y'all used to me going here, going there, but when I'm doing these series for my don't, it's only gonna be strictly about the build on the don't. Y'all stay tuned. Like he said, he gonna send everything off. We're gonna have to wait till all that, so we don't know how much that, but always have your post notifications turned on so y'all can know when we get to stage 2. And I don't know how I'm gonna name this. I think I might do it in stages rather than episodes or series or anything like that. I probably just do it in stage 1, stage 2, stuff like that, so you guys can understand the full process and the full breaking down, putting back up together, assembly process, all of that. So, and we're gonna say shout out to Matt again at Allstate Transmissions. And how can they find you if they was trying to reach you?
So we are listed officially business-wise as Allstate Transmission of Dallas. We are located at 2522 South Buckner Boulevard. That's in Dallas, Texas. Don't let the name fool you. We're not just transmission people. But you can call us Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you would happen to call and you get a message, answer machine, just leave a message. We always return our phone calls. If there's something we can help you with a project or a car, just give us a ring.
Just give him a ring. And he don't just fix transmission, he fix cars.
He fix cars.
And trucks. Everything.
It's got tires, we work on it.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys, shout out to him. I'm gonna start putting his link down in the description so you guys can be able to just get to him immediately right from the video. And y'all just stay tuned because we got a lot more to come. And I'll catch y'all in a little while. Peace. All right, y'all, man. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Very informational video. And I appreciate y'all for the support. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets for the 2020 C8 Corvette. And make sure you guys, if y'all haven't, hit that like button, subscribe right now to the channel, and we're gonna keep going to the top, man. And y'all already know what time it is. Your boy RellToReal. Hey man, say man, hey man, it's your boy, man, RellToReal, man. The like button, that subscribe button, that share button, go ahead, bust it down. I'm out of here like last year. Peace.
She popped the sand, bitch is sleeping. My cool too fast, police done see me.